Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 50 of the Wulong Talks podcast. My name is Jason. I'm the host of the show, as you know. And as always, I'm joined by my cohorts, the Man Geek Big A up north. Big A, say what's up.
What's going on?
And down south with me, the Rustling Kid, Rich Kid, is in the house as well. Rich Kid, say what's
What's
up.
happening? What's happening? What's up?
Yeah, man. Well, it's episode number 50. We've made it. The big 5-0. Boy, it's been a journey. It's definitely been a journey. We'll reflect a bit on that a little bit later on. But first of all, guys, I mean, how you feeling about us reaching 50? Because that's kind of a milestone still. So there's loads of people who start this shit and don't get to where we've got to. So we've got to be proud of ourselves, right?
I'm super proud. Like, listen, like, you know what? I mean, without trying to get all bloody, what's it called, sentimental, but Jay, I remember the day when we first started Wulong Talks, and like, and we just like we had the brainstorm and we went to Comic-Con, and we were just like, shit, we've got stuff to say, and I think people would like to listen to what we have to say, and us just brainstorming. I remember like coming home and just contacting and like looking at people that we took pictures of and be like, hey, do you think we can contact this person to be on our show? And then obviously, and then like that's how we got in touch with Holly. Shout out to Holly from Darkside, who was actually one of the first people that we actually interviewed, or if not one of the first, the actual first person we interviewed. And I just remember it just being that idea. And like, and obviously we've had our ups and our downs where we've felt a bit like shit, it's not really going anywhere, or, we haven't been able to record, for a couple of weeks on end, and then you have to get back into the swing of things. But to see us here now and just so fluid and easy, I'm happy, man. Like, and I generally believe that only good things are going to be coming henceforth from this. I mean, good things are happening for us right now in the past couple of weeks. Shout out to Rob Wade as well. I'm happy. I'm happy with you guys. You guys are like my brothers, innit? So
Yeah, man, it's been a real journey. As Rich has touched it on a bit there. We've really been through quite a bit to get to number 50, but here we are. We're here at number 50. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Thank you for choosing to join us, and for those of you who've been with us since the beginning, well, welcome back, man. You're part of the family now, so pull up a chair, take a seat. Let's talk, man. Big A, how you been, man? We haven't heard from you in a little while. What you been up to? You been reading any good comics? You been doing any watching any movies, anything like that?
I've been watching loads of Thundercats just because Thundercats were annoyed me, so I had to revisit the original show, and it's fucking hilarious. And I've really been enjoying it. And also, there was a wicked podcast that I listened to. There's a guy called Dan Norton who worked on the 2011 version of Thundercats. I think he was one of the heads of that. And it's like a 3-hour podcast where he details what was going to happen in series 2 and how they were going to end the whole story. And it's fucking dope. It's so good. Like all the shit that they were going to do, all the story bits that they were going to do, they were going to incorporate Silverhawks into it and all this stuff. Like it sounded absolutely nuts, man. And it would have been a great 26 episodes that we didn't get to see that weren't killed due to low ratings. That is a lie when anyone says it's low ratings. But yeah, if you want to listen to that, you can find it on SoundCloud pretty easily. And yeah, it's just a dope 3 hours of them just talking about everything about the series that would happen in series 2.
Nice. I'll have to check that out at some point, because I remember you did mention that a couple of weeks ago.
yeah, it was actually need to finish it. It was actually a really, really good listen, man. It was really interesting, man. Yeah, so thanks for that, Alvin.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
Although you didn't answer Jason's question.
What?
Well, you did kind of.
That was quick, man. I gave like a whole speech.
Innit?
No.
Like,
Let me finish.
Like
Let me finish. No, I gave like a whole little speech, and I like, this is like the bit in Pineapple Express where they're sitting in a tree, and he's like, "Yeah, you're my friend," and Seth Rogen goes, "Yeah, okay." Like, I was like, James Franco's like, "Hey, like, yeah, I'm really happy we're here," and Seth is like, "Yeah, all right, you're my weed dealer. I buy weed off you." Like, so I thought you were gonna once I know it doesn't happen very often, but just emote a little.
Look, man, I can't be going on an epic 18-month journey to Mordor. I'm sorry, but that's not for me. I teleport, get there and get it done here. You want to do that long journey, need all coast away and all this business. Yo, you can do that. I'll just teleport there, innit? Keep it short.
Mm, mm. Listen, the man geeks from up north, mate. Up north, they don't play that. It's none of this talking shit. They just get to that point and that's it. Yeah, man. Let's get started on this week's show. So, I thought we'd start off a little bit with a bit of a chat about Star Wars. That's been in the news for various different reasons over the past week or so. We've all seen the movie Solo. Well, Rich, you haven't seen it yet, have you?
Not yet, no.
But yeah, well, myself and Alvin have seen it, and I'm sure most of you listening to this have seen it as well. So you have your own opinions on it. You're obviously probably aware that the movie hasn't been doing so well box office wise around the world at the moment. So there's a lot of talk about kind of where the Star Wars franchise has gone wrong, quote unquote, because it depends on your definition of wrong, really, as to whether you consider there to be a problem or not. But in some quarters, it is considered that there is a problem with the franchise, that it's not quite reaching and touching audiences in the way that it should do. Whereas others, have argued that Solo is just an isolated incident, and there are various reasons to explain why that may have gone wrong. So, um, yeah, I mean, Alvin, Rich, you can jump in on this one at any time, but obviously because you haven't seen Solo so much, I'll stick to Alvin more for the
Yeah,
specifics of
yeah,
the
yeah,
Solo
sure,
stuff.
that's fine.
But Al, I mean, we talked a little bit after we both kind of saw it. I know in general you were quite pleased with the movie that you got,
Mm.
but we talked a bit as well about some of the reasons, and I know you went into some of the reasons why you think it Solo may not have done as well as it should have done on Twitter. But for the sake of those listening, could you just kind of give a little rundown again of why you think maybe the movie hasn't quite achieved the box office aims that it set out to achieve?
Yeah. So the first thing is it is way too soon after The Last Jedi. I mean, this isn't Star Wars isn't the MCU. You know what I mean? You can have multiple films in the MCU like be released within a year, but they've all got completely different titles. So you can see them independently. Whereas calling something X a Star Wars story, it's a different kind of ball game. Star Wars should just be once a year. It's way too soon after The Last Jedi. I mean, we've only had it on what Blu-ray for the last like what 2 months, if that. And people hated The Last Jedi. A lot of people really hated it. Like
Mm.
it's a very like
It's
divisive
divisive,
movie,
yeah.
and it's kind of split the fan base even more. Like now there's multiple sections. Like there's people who love the prequels who hate The Last Jedi,
Mm.
and stuff like that. People who like the originals who hate The Last Jedi, and then there's people that love everything, and then so everyone's got a voice now because of social media, and yes, it's really not been good for it. So yeah, they should have waited until December. And there's like I said, there's a lot of hate for The Last Jedi, and some of these kind of groups are extremely vocal online, and there's a lot of arguing going on, and also the production as well. Um, I think because Lord and Miller left the project, everyone was expecting it to be a car crash.
Mm.
What I saw wasn't a car crash. I actually really enjoyed it a lot, but yeah, I think it didn't help because people heard, oh well, the directors have left. They've got Ron Howard in. Obviously, it's going to be shit. They even heard things about Alden Ehrenreich not being able to act and apparently having to get an acting coach. So I think it's all the production kind of hoo ha and all the Last Jedi related stuff. I think personally that's what killed it for most people and made him go, nah, I don't want to see it.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, I think all of those reasons are pretty valid. Something else I read online as well was about the marketing campaign for the movie and how the marketing campaign was a little bit odd. It didn't really seem to kind of kick into gear until almost a week before the actual movie came out. Plus, it didn't help that the first trailer, the teaser trailer, kind of didn't really give an immediate sense of the tone of the movie
Mm.
and what they were trying to do. So it wasn't until the full trailer came out, and then like because I remember when we saw it, and I was like, it was when I saw that full trailer that I was like, okay, I get it now. I get where this movie's going. I get what they're trying to do. Up until that point, I was lost. I was just like, I don't understand. Like, what's the plot here? What are we? What's going on? Beyond kind of the basics, I guess. So yeah, I think the marketing campaign didn't really help as well. They could have done, Disney could and should have done a lot better marketing that movie. Really, yeah, as I said, it felt like they just left it too late to kind of sort of kick in with all of that. Really, aside from that as well, I mean, we kind of talked as well about the things that we liked about the movie, and maybe some of the things that didn't work. For those of you that haven't seen Solo, by the way, we'll try not to spoil too much about the movie here. But one of the things, I talked about with you, Al, was the idea that I'd like to see kind of more from Star Wars in general. I'd like to see more of kind of the underworld workings. And that was one of the things that I really, really liked about Solo, was getting to see how the underworld in the Star Wars world worked, and hearing about the Hutts and their influence, and Crimson Dawn, and all these kind of other factions that work underground, that are involved in smuggling, organized crime, the slavers who were taking the Wookiees off of Kashyyyk, and things like that. I liked kind of those references, and I think we were saying on the chat that you and I were having going forward. I would like to see kind of more stuff like that from Star Wars. Specifically from like the TV shows that they've got proposed, and things like that. I'd love to see kind of like that type of a story set in the Star Wars world. Rich, before I go back to Al for his take on that, Rich, you've read a lot of the expanded books, and you're well versed in kind of the expanded universe of Star Wars. From kind of what you've read, do you think there's kind of enough material there to kind of keep making interesting stories, say outside of like Han Solo and the Jedi, and the kind of things that people would instantly recognize from Star Wars? Do you think there's enough kind of other stories there to tell?
Look, I mean, easily. I mean, to be fair, I remember when Disney did get the rights for Lucas, and then they made that announcement that everything that had come before was now going to be changed to Legends. Like, I understand what they were saying about how they needed to make it, create a clean slate. So obviously it's going to be new for everybody. But at the same time, destroying or killing all of that, it didn't make sense. Because the stuff that, and I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm a big Star Wars fan. But everything that Disney has put out since they've acquired the rights is nowhere near as good as the stuff that was released years ago, whether it be through computer games, graphic novels, books, cartoons. Like it's not even close, and there's more than enough like material there now that you can literally just get that and maybe just switch it up a little bit. Like me and you, Jay, had this conversation. I was saying that they could just actually just do like what the MCU is doing right now, where they're just getting these characters, and like everybody knows these characters and they might read the comic books, but to keep it nice and fresh, just switch it up a little bit, and something like that. So I think Disney could do a lot better with what they have with Star Wars right now. I'm to be fair, and like I said, I'm looking at it as a Star Wars fan and a film fan. I'm not very impressed with what they give me so far. Like, I mean, Rogue One was a brilliant film. Force Awakens, I wasn't a fan of. Last Jedi had its moments, and Solo I haven't seen as of yet, which I will see, because like I said, because I'm a fan. But they just need to do better. For me personally, that's my opinion.
Cool. And what about the kind of stories that specifically you think that they should go for say like the TV show and things like that? Is there kind of anything that you think specifically outside of, say, as I said, the Skywalker story and things like that? Is there anything outside of that you think that they should be looking at to kind of develop for TV shows and for movies in that kind of MCU style?
Well, I mean, they've already shown with what's it called, with Rogue One, that you actually can have a story without a Skywalker or Solo in it. So that's a good thing. I mean, back in the day, there used to be like a comic book and a book series, yeah, comic book and a book series called Rogue Squadron, and it's the basically it's the X-wing fighters that Luke Skywalker used to belong to, for for a small amount of time until he left them and then went on to go and continue his Jedi training. So I mean that'd be interesting. Like you said about how in Solo they kind of touch upon like the underworld, which is another thing which has been touched upon in the books and the comic books as well. So I'd like to see different factions of the Star Wars universe in general. So look at the underworld, look at the Empire as in general. Look at the rebels and how they do their thing. Even look at just like the normal people. You know how they used to in DC when they used to do was it the Gotham the comic book about Gotham, about
Gotham
the
PD.
Gotham, yeah, Gotham PD. Maybe have something like that where you've got somebody who essentially isn't part of the Empire or part of the rebels or Jedi's or anything like that, or like a criminal, but they're just literally just trying to survive and just live a normal life on a day-to-day basis in this galaxy, which is in essence turmoil. I mean, there's countless things they could do. They could do a Tag and Bink, which was rumored a couple of years ago, like a comedy kind of something set in the Star Wars universe. They've got a lot of material there, but for some of the reason they're trying so desperately to be different that I think it's starting to backfire. And I'm not, that it reminds me a bit of what Warner Brothers are doing that with the DC universe, where they're trying to be so different that it feels like they're cutting their nose to spite their own face. So yeah.
Mm, mm. Alf, as I said, we kind of were talking about sort of Solo and the strengths of it and the weaknesses and stuff. What kind of the things that worked for you with Solo and the things that you thought were really impressive, and what were the things that didn't quite work out for you with that movie?
The things that worked for me were the characters. There's a lot of like the characters that appear early in the movie, like everyone in Tobias Beckett's crew, that I really liked and I really enjoyed them. And I just like the fact that it was like a different, it was kind of similar kind of adventure tone that Star Wars normally has, but it was kind of different. And again, the whole kind of like smugglers thing, and it's like when Tobias Beckett first shows up, and he's just firing his guns off like some sick cowboy, like spinning his blasters and that. I was just like, I'm in. Like, I get who this guy is and what he's all about. And I liked the fact that Han learned a lot throughout the movie. I thought the casting was really good as well. CG is good as always because it's industrial light and magic. And yeah, just the overall pacing of the thing. Like, I heard that the first hour was boring, and I was watching that train heist, and I was like, what were they talking about? This is really good shit. Like, what the hell are they on about? So it was all kind of things like that. And yeah, like I said, it made it feel like it was 100 minutes, but it's over 2 hours. So like I was really impressed with it in that way. I thought it was directed really well as well for someone who came in kind of like once a certain amount of the project had been filmed and had to refilm quite a bit of it. Well, pretty much all of it, to be honest. Like I liked what Ron Howard did with Star Wars. I thought he did some really cool stuff. There was some like really great shots in there that was like extremely well done, some long takes and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the thing that didn't work for me was probably like one or two story elements that didn't work, but I think they're going to be kind of investigated in different movies. Perhaps the Boba Fett movie will look into those things, but who knows?
Mm, mm. Well, it's just as well you brought up the Boba Fett movie because I was just gonna moving us on, um, talk about that as well because we got the announcement recently that a Boba Fett movie is going into production, and immediately on like social media as you kind of stated at the beginning, Alvin, you saw this split in the fan base that was evident where 50% of people were like, hell yeah, give me a Boba Fett movie, and the other half were like, hell no, don't give me a Boba Fett
Mm.
movie. Um, so it seems like we're at a point where a lot of these things that they're trying to do with Star Wars, as Rich said, is kind of it's it's leaving the fan base just completely and utterly split. And I don't know kind of where we go from here. In terms of a Boba Fett movie, Rich, would you be interested in a Boba Fett movie and watching a Boba Fett movie?
Um, it's Star Wars, so I'm gonna be intrigued either way. Uh, the thing is, I think that, like I said, I'll go back to the decision of Disney just saying of just scrapping like the stuff that was canon before, that everything had been done before. Like, I don't think they anticipated the divide that it was going to cause between the fans. Like Alvin said earlier, or like you said earlier, Jason, it's like there's now 3 different types of Star Wars fans. So you've got original trilogy fans, you've got bloody, prequel trilogy fans, and then now you've got this new generation of fans, and all 3 of them can't seem to see eye to eye. So basically, I can only imagine that the people who are new to the franchise are just like, Boba Fett who? Like, forget, but like, fuck Boba Fett. Like, he's for you older guys. So I can imagine there's a whole generation of people in their, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s who are just like, yeah, man, Boba Fett was, my favorite character. Like, I know he's topped many polls in, like, over the years for, one of the most popular characters in that field. But would I be interested? It'd have to be something really, really different and have some form of consequence. This is the thing that I'm finding with the Star Wars franchise right now. It's like, okay, cool, fair enough. You're going to give me a Han Solo story, but I essentially know what happens to Han Solo at the end of The Force Awakens. So I've seen him come from XYZ and then end up here, and I know how his story ends. So you need to give me something that's going to make me want to be like, okay, wow, this is a really good story. If they're not going to do that with Boba Fett, then don't bother. Then just do what they did with Rogue One, and just take Boba Fett out of it. Like, I mean, like, if it feels like they're trying to please too many people at any one time. So would I be interested in seeing it? Yeah, I wouldn't mind, especially if Temuera Morrison's going to be in it, because he's like as far as I'm concerned, he's the baddest motherfucker in all the film. He's played Green Lanterns, he's played Jedi's. He's played Bounty Hunters. He's played Jake the Mask in Once Were Warriors. So I'd like to see him. Say again?
Once Were Warriors is a sick film.
Yeah, wicked film. Like, guys, I know listeners out there who think we only talk about, comic books and, and Japanese anime and stuff like that. Like, we watch all types of films here. We just don't talk about it the majority of the time. But go watch a film. There's a New Zealand film called Once Were Warriors. And it's got Temuera Morrison starring in it. And it's about a family of a Maori family and just them living day to day and how they're treated in New Zealand. It's a real eye opener, and it's a really, really good story, really good film, really good acting. Go peep it. But so back to the Boba Fett thing. I'd watch it because I'm a Star Wars fan. I wouldn't be excited to see it because it's a Boba Fett film. Boba Fett to me has always been a character that's been overrated, much like Darth Vader, until his appearance and what he did in Rogue One. So, do we need it? I don't think we need it. I think we just need something new. Stop looking to the old stuff and just take it. If you're going to take a chance, then take a proper chance. So that's my opinion on that.
Cool. Alf, how about you, man? Are you looking forward to a Boba Fett movie?
It's not that I'm looking forward to it. It's just that I'll go and see it because it says Star Wars on it. I agree with some of the people who said like Boba Fett hasn't done shit because he really didn't do anything. But I disagree when people say he's not cool, because he's got a cool look. He's a Mandalorian. They are fucking cool. And I want to actually see that on the silver screen, you know what I mean? Mandalorians doing their shit. Yeah, I've kind of seen it in Rebels and whatnot. But it's not the same. I want to see Boba Fett do that. You know what I mean? I want to see.
Yeah, you want to see him do cool stuff, yeah?
Yeah, I want to see him go on. I want him to be like intergalactic Kraven the Hunter. That's what I want to see. You know what I mean? I want to see him actually go on the hunt. In Empire, he didn't go on no. He followed the Millennium Falcon to fucking Cloud City, got there a little bit before them with the Empire, and then fucking he really didn't do anything. He fired a few blaster shots and then walked Han Solo's carbonite frozen body into Slave One and got off. That was it. You know what I mean? We didn't really get to see him do anything. We didn't really get to see him be a bounty hunter. I think the most we've seen him be a bounty hunter was in in Clone Wars.
Mm.
That's like when he's like what 13 or something like that, or 14 or whatever. Not
Yeah.
even as an adult. I want to see him as an adult go on the hunt, take a contract, compete with other bounty hunters. But I don't necessarily want to see all the bounty hunters that we already know from Star Wars, like IG-88, Bosk,
Mm.
Zuckuss, Dengar. I don't necessarily want to see all those guys, maybe one or two, but I'd rather see kind of like the whole kind of like bounty hunters guild thing, but like realized on screen, and then for them to delve into that as much as they delved into scoundrels in Solo.
Mm. Hmm.
You know who Boba Fett is? Boba Fett is Malik from One Direction. Like, no, sure, no, like you see him and it's like, hey man, you look fucking cool. Like you just stand there and just look cool. And then once in a while, he might do one or two good songs. But then when you look at his discography, you're just like, yeah, you're just a fucking, you ain't shit. I really shouldn't say that because I know people that know him. So I could be shoot myself in the foot. But I understand what he's saying about the whole thing with Boba Fett. Like, if they're gonna do that, Alvin, like if they're gonna like make him show the reason why he's the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy, then yeah, by all means. But then just don't do it just because there's Boba Fett fans out there, and you wanna please the old generation, and still keep them on board. Others, once again, like I said, they're just gonna be wasting our time.
Mm.
So yeah, I agree with you in that one as well.
Yeah, I think as is always the case and is the golden rule with anything, man. If you don't
Mm.
have a compelling story for it, don't tell it.
Mm.
Like, is that
Yeah, because he's goofy. But Boba Fett's goofy. Like
Mm.
to me, he's goofy. Like the whole thing of him looking cool, that's all right. I don't think he looks that cool. To be fair, I think he looks okay. But come by Return of the Jedi, he gets taken out like some freaking Benny Hill character. Like
No,
it's just
out
nonsense. Yeah,
way too easy, and it's just yeah.
yeah,
I'm with you. I've never understood the Boba Fett thing, and I know about the Mandalorians. I know all
yeah,
about where
yeah,
they
yeah.
come from and all of that, and yeah, they
That's
do have
cool.
a cool
Mm,
story. But him specifically, no. Based on
yeah,
what he's done in those movies, no, I don't get it. But hey,
yeah,
they're going to do it, so we can only hope that they get involved. As you said, they cast Tamora Morrison in there somewhere, and they give us a story that actually makes sense and is going to be a compelling story that people will be interested in. So we'll see what the future holds for Star Wars. I'm sure there'll be more announcements with that going forward. But let's move on because we do need to talk. Well, I think it's worth talking about this. There was, of course, some news in the week as well for that left Walking Dead fans kind of reeling. And the news was that the main character, Andrew Lincoln, the main actor who plays Rick in the series Walking Dead, is leaving the show.
Are you
He will
fucking
probably
joking?
be leaving. Yeah, yeah. You didn't know this, no?
No, I
Oh, okay.
totally missed that.
Yeah,
No.
he's leaving the show.
Wow.
He'll be gone by apparently by episode 6 of the new season. He'll be out. And they've also confirmed that Lauren Cohen is leaving as well.
The show's
oh wow.
fucked. I'm sorry, but it's fucked. I don't think
Well, I
we can
was just
continue after that.
the reason why I was bringing it up because, like, again, I'm really sorry if you listen to us and you're a Walking Dead fan, but if you've been listening to us from the beginning, you know kind of how my thoughts have evolved on the show. But when we started doing this podcast, I think we were in kind of season 4. I think it was season 4, season 5.
Yeah,
It might have been,
about
yeah,
that. Yeah,
4 or 5 we were in when we started, and I was kind of like still just about on board, but could kind of see the signs that this show was lagging. And then more recently, sort of throughout last year, I was kind of pretty much out and done with the show. I was like, I don't feel this is really going anywhere, this story's going anywhere anymore. They're just kind of repeating themselves over and over again in terms of plots, and they've run out of ideas for the characters. And now we get this news that the lead actor is leaving the show. And for me, it just kind of signs the death knell. Really, it sounds the bell to let everybody know this ship is sinking. As you said, Alf. So I wanted to get like you guys' thoughts on that quickly because it is quite, you know, monumentous news because Andrew Lincoln has been there from the beginning and he's very much the linchpin character for that show. You know, Rick is the main character of the Walking Dead story. For those of you familiar with the TV show and with the comics, you know, it's all about Rick's journey and what he's been on. And that is coming to an end, like within you know a very short space of time. Probably by the end of the year, it will be done and he will be out. Um, do you think the show can continue? I mean, Alvin, you pretty much said no, so I guess that answers that. But Rich,
to add to my no though, just quickly. The reason, because obviously I'll just say this and then obviously you can move on to Rich. But the reason why is because a show like that has its pillars, you know what I mean? And certain characters are the pillars. Like Glenn was a pillar, Maggie is definitely a pillar, Rick's a pillar, Daryl's a pillar. I'd say Michonne is as well. Maybe Negan because you really like him, although he was a bad guy or whatever. But yeah, I think they're gonna lose too many pillars, and when you lose too many pillars, the building's gonna collapse. I don't think relying on like Daryl, Negan, and Michonne will be enough for this show. I really don't. I just don't know.
Yeah. Apparently, they've offered Norman Reedus a massive contract.
Oh, I bet.
Like literally the day after Andrew Lincoln said no, he's leaving. Yeah, they literally the day after they offered him a huge contract. So yeah, I don't know, but Rich, what's your thoughts here, man? I mean, do you think this can? How long do you think The Walking Dead is going to last once he's gone? Do you think it's?
Well, I mean, I'm surprised the show's lasted this. I'm surprised the show's lasted this long. Anyway, to be fair, and I think it's not that it's a good show anymore. Like we said, it's just about fans, just being loyal to a show. It depends. I mean, I definitely hear what you're saying as well about it being they're linchpins. But what will happen is that what usually happens when this type of thing does occur in a TV show is that they always replace that person with somebody who is similar. So I'm interested to see who they're going to replace Rick with, because they are going to have to replace him. That's just a standard, right? That's number one. And number two, how he's going to depart from the show is going to be interesting as well. And then not just him, but him. Who was the girl's name? Who does Lucy Cohen play again? What's the name of it? Maggie? No, not Maggie.
Yes, Maggie.
Maggie's
Cohen. Yeah.
Lauren Cohen. Yeah. Maggie. Yeah. Hold on. What's the old woman called? The Jamie Lee Curtis woman called the gilf.
Carol.
Yeah. Listen, Carol's naughty, bruv. That grey hair, but anyway, listen, Carol's naughty, bruv. She looks like a younger Jamie Lee Curtis. She's naughty with that short hair. But anyway, but I think, or let's put it this way, maybe this is what the show has needed, because one of the things that we have been saying for what season is this? The season that just ended is season 7, yeah. For Walking Dead, is that?
I think it's 8 actually.
Yeah, look at that. We don't even know, right?
Yeah,
but we've basically been saying,
track, to be honest.
Yeah. Just for for whatever's sake, let's just say it is season 8, right? So at least for the last 4 to 5 seasons, we've been saying how the one of the reasons why the show has been dragging is because we know certain characters are not going to get killed. Like, fans have gone online and have already said things such as if Daryl gets killed, we're going to boycott the show. So maybe this is needed. Maybe this is a kick in the ass and a nice little shake up to the system that will maybe kickstart the show again and maybe make everybody believe that everybody is expendable. That's it. I mean, one of the things as well is that people that are reading the Walking Dead comic book, they kind of know what's happening. They kind of know what's going to happen because they do kind of run side by side. Getting rid of Rick right now, and let's say people that have started reading the comic book because of the TV show, and that comic book still has Rick in it, now nobody knows what's going on. All bets are fucking off. So maybe it's a good thing. I mean, I think basically the reason why we're being kind of hard is just literally for the fact that the last few seasons have just been so shit. But it's a last ditch attempt to to save a flagging show, I reckon. which I'm not sure if that's what they've actually been aiming for, but maybe this is what they need. Maybe they need to be backed into a corner and to reevaluate all of their options and try to make the best of a bad situation.
Mm. Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Yeah, I guess we'll see how things unfold with the Walking Dead. But listeners, if you're a fan of the Walking Dead, how are you feeling right now? Are you worried about the future of the show? Are you going to keep watching, or are you going to give up once Rick is gone? Let us know, man. You'll find out how to get in touch with us at the end of the show if you're listening. But let's move on. This week we got a couple of new trailers out. We've picked out two that we'll talk about briefly as well. We won't do a full trailer breakdown on these. We'll probably have to save that for another time. But these are kind of two new trailers that we got this week that really kind of stood out to me. First one that I wanted to talk about with you guys is Bumblebee. I kind of like the trailer. Now, this is and bear in mind this is coming from me. This is coming, listeners, as you know, I've since this podcast has started, all I've done is shit on the Transformers franchise. I hate it. I really hate it. Like I despise it now because of what they've done with the Transformers, because of how they've chosen to take those characters and turn them into fucking just God knows what. I mean, I don't even know what they were thinking, or were they thinking? I don't think they were thinking. But anyway, as you know, I'm not the biggest Transformers fan here at Wulong Talks, but this Bumblebee trailer, I'm gonna say has quietly kind of restored a tiny bit of faith. Maybe that's because the franchise as a whole has just hit so far rock bottom that the only way is up, and any kind of thing that looks competent is enough to kind of get me back on board. I don't know, but I liked this trailer because it felt different. It didn't feel like what we've got so far from the Paramount Transformers movies. This felt a little bit more. Um, I don't know how best to put it. I guess I mean, Alvin, you summed it up really well. I think on your Instagram. So I mean, I'm going to pass the ball to you to kind of sum up how you saw it. But um, you mentioned Short Circuit and kind of how like it felt a bit like Short Circuit. So yeah, if you can elaborate on that a little
Yeah.
bit.
So pretty much, it's I can tell that the movie in a weird way, yeah, it's gonna have action in it and all that kind of stuff, but it's gonna have some form of heart. I don't think the Transformers movies, any of them so far, have had any kind of real heart. It's just been a story about robots fighting and that's it. Whereas this, it seems like there's a genuine bond between Haley Steinfeld's character and Bumblebee, and obviously there's going to be a bit of a relationship and like, her teaching Bumblebee how to do things and this, that, and the other. So I get the real Short Circuit vibes from that, and also the fact that obviously the military is going to be like chasing Bumblebee and stuff like that, just like what happened to Johnny Five in Short Circuit. So yeah, it's got a real nice vibe about it. Also, the fact that it's set in the 80s as well, and that this is a smaller Transformers movie.
Mm,
It's not going to suffer from the same things. So it's like, because you know how you get your big Marvel movies, and then
mm,
you also get your smaller movies like say Ant-Man and stuff like that. I think this is the Transformers finally just doing that, where we'll probably see a few different Transformers. There will probably be a fight, but it's not like, oh God, look, Cybertron's returning, it's
mm,
coming to, and all that kind of weirdness and like buildings collapsing. No, I think it's literally going to be a weird little relationship between like a girl and her robot car.
mm, mm.
And I'm actually gutted that in the trailer it didn't say something like meet such and such. She's about to discover that her car is a robot in disguise. I'm surprised they
Mm.
didn't do that. They
Yeah,
should have done that. That would have been
yeah.
wicked.
That is a missed opportunity, actually. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, you're absolutely like kind of right. I mean, you pretty much summed up how I felt about it. I loved like the 80s setting for this. I'm glad that they've kind of gone back, and they've really gone back with it. I think that makes a lot of sense in terms of kind of, because the Transformers are very much a child of the 80s in terms of the TV show and the toys and things like that. You're cashing in on the nostalgia for that, but you're also tapping into that kind of innocence of that era as well. And as you said, there's heart from the trailer, and it seems like there's going to be a little bit of attention paid to the relationship between Haley Stansfield and Bumblebee, and I like that. Also, we got to look at Starscream as well, and he looks like a bit like Starscream from the cartoon. And I was like, oh my god, they actually like made him look a little bit like Starscream from the cartoon. They didn't just get a random robot and go, your name is Bone Crusher. It's like, hold on, but that's not Bone Crusher. Yeah, I don't care. Like, but his name is Bone Crusher. No, they've actually like paid some attention to the original cartoons. Another thing that makes me positive about this is Travis Knight being involved. Because of the work that he's done with Kubo and the Two Strings and with Paranorman and the whole stuff that they do at Leica Studios. The movies that they've put out have really been quite offbeat and off the wall, but always have heart at the center of them. And it seems like maybe that's what Bumblebee is going for. Rich, did you check out the Bumblebee trailer, and did you have any thoughts on it and where the Transformers franchise is going?
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud to say that I have never watched Transformers movie in the cinema. So I have seen them. I think the last one I've got about halfway through, and guiltily enjoyed it, but I haven't finished it. But this one, I generally I'm intrigued. I like you said, once again, like yourself, and like Alvin said, I'm happy that it's gone back. I like this 80s setting. And like I was talking to Alvin earlier, and I was like, not only does it fit more with what we know as Transformers anyway, and I think even people who maybe came into the Transformers franchise when the film series started, it was still quite very different to what it was that they were shown on TV before the films came out. This one feels like Alvin said earlier to me on the phone, it feels like Generation 1. Like the color schemes, like even like Starscream looks like Starscream. But then the other thing that I liked as well is that, do you notice that when they were transforming from let's say from car to robot, or from vehicle to robot, or from robot to vehicle, it wasn't as intricate? Well, I don't know if something is.
Another thing, you've just reminded me. There's a scene in the trailer where Bumblebee first transforms in front of her. They actually used the original transforming noise more often than they did in the previous Transformers movies.
Yeah.
In the previous Transformers movies, Michael Bay, I think, did it once, and it was basically fan service. It was like, look, I've put your stupid noise in. Now watch as I do a slow-mo transformation for 2 minutes of this robot. With lots of different intricate poses as it builds itself up. And we're like, nobody cares about this shit. We're not mathematicians. We don't want to see parts move here, there, and everywhere. Just show us the transformation and get it done. With this one, what they actually did is they did that. Like as you were saying, it's less intricate. They're not that bothered about kind of showing you lots of different little blocks moving 3 degrees to the left and 3 degrees to the right. They don't care. They just want to show you, look, this thing is transforming. And by the way, hear that sound? You probably remember that sound, don't you? Yeah, that's the sound from the TV show, because we like you fans. We like the fact that you like this show, and we want you to come see the movie. So here, we're going to put this in for you. I like that kind of thing. So sorry, go on, carry on.
Yeah, no. So I really like that even though they've scaled it, they've made it look simpler. They've still kept it intricate somewhat, so to speak. But I remember we've spoken before about when you go back and you watch Transformers the cartoon, and you see them transform from like car, or like I said, from vehicle to robot, or from robot to vehicle, and it just defies physics. Like Megatron is like, let's say like a 12-foot size robot or even bigger, and then he transforms into a little gun. Like it doesn't make sense. Or like when Optimus changes into a truck and it's like, wait a minute, like where do your arms go? It doesn't make sense. You were this big, now you're like a car. Like, I like that they've kept that simplicity to it, but then try to add it into the real world. But then, like I said, don't overcomplicate. For that alone, I'm happy. And the color scheme, like I said, so like seeing Bumblebee and seeing Starscream, they look like the Transformers that I grew up with. So I'm sold on that end. Haley Steinfeld, I don't know enough about her as of yet to be like, I'm really excited that she's in it. I know she's been on like, isn't she from like one of them Disney programs or one of those Disney programs? Is she? Is she from one of those things?
She was in
I don't know.
Ender's
I'm old.
Game.
Yeah,
She was
she's
in that
Ender's Game,
Jeff
isn't it?
Bridges film as well ages
Hmm.
ago. When she was a little cowgirl with a bounty hunter in like the Wild West.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wasn't she
What's
in
it
that?
called?
True
True Grit. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, she was in that.
Mm.
She was in
She's in True Grit. Okay.
Mm.
Pitch Perfect
Yeah,
1.
she's in
Yeah.
Pitch Perfect 3.
She was really good in True Grit actually. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, all right. Okay. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I've only seen her in Pitch Perfect 3. And she was okay in that. That doesn't really, say, hey, Haley Steinfeld, I'm definitely gonna see it now. So
Well,
right
let's
now,
face
the only
it,
thing that's making me want to see
can't be any worse than
what's
Shia
that?
LaBeouf.
Yeah. I mean, basically,
Hey,
all
listen.
she has to do is be
Yeah.
better than. Oh my God! Something terrible is happening to me. Let me pull a funny face, Shia LaBeouf. Like that's all she has to do. That the bar is not set high. So as long as she
Okay,
can
let's
be
but
competent,
yeah.
one foot in front of the other when she's supposed to, emote when she's supposed to,
Mm,
and
yeah.
convince us that she has a relationship with Bumblebee. That's it. And from that
That's
trailer,
true. No,
so
yeah.
that's all we need. That's all we need. We don't really need
Uh,
anything too complicated or anything kind of like, yeah, let's give her this complex backstory about this and that. Nah, man, we don't need it. We never got that in the
mm.
TV show. We don't need it now. Just as
No, no,
long as
no. I'm
she
not saying that
can.
we need that. I'm just saying about her acting. I'll just know the reason why I reserve my judgment. And I know that Michael Bay's got nothing to do with this, but we've had 5 Transformers films, and everybody and nobody in that film can act. Like I think the best actor in out of those 5 Transformers films is that little dog that Shia LaBeouf's family owns. Yeah, that was the best actor in it. So I understand that Haley Steinfeld had like the bar hasn't been set very high, but then there's 5 films where this bar hasn't been set very high with different people. Like John Turturro in it is like shit.
Yeah, but
Like you've got really good actors. You've got good actors in it, and you're making them act shit. Like what's going on? That's a skill.
but what's the one common factor in front of all of those 5 films?
Well, okay, fair enough. Michael Bay.
Exactly. He's gone. So that's the reason why I'm
Mhm.
bro. He's gone.
Yeah,
Not there anymore. He's not writing,
yeah,
he's not producing, nothing. He's done. He's out.
yeah.
So
Fair
once
enough.
he's out of
And
the
you,
way
and you,
and there's someone else in there, I feel like okay, we've got an opportunity to see something different now. So
yeah, and you did mention that the people who were in charge of Kubo and the Two Strings and Paranormal, are basically headlining this. And
yeah,
Kubo and the Two Strings is actually Kubo and the Two Strings is one of my favorite animated films, like in general. So like just that alone has instilled a bit of hope in me. So seeing John Cena in it, man,
You saw
we'll
John
see.
Cena?
I mean,
it's
John Cena, yeah, John
Cena!
Cena's,
I
yeah,
can't
you can't see.
never see John Cena with Taylor, and I cannot see him talking shit.
But then in saying that, in saying, I mean, like I haven't seen John Cena in a serious role. I will say one thing though, his ability, but his comedic timing is pretty fucking good. I think I saw him in that film, some Amy Schumer film, man, and he was really good in that. Like, he was as good as
Trainwreck.
Chris Hemsworth. It was a train wreck. Yeah, he was as good as Chris. He was as good as Chris Hemsworth was in the Ghostbusters reboot. So I mean, so that's something to look forward to. But I saw him as he was dressed in like, army fatigues, or like some like he's part of the army. So is it going to be more of a serious role? I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, it is interesting. I like the. Let's put it this way: that this trailer looks better so far than all of the Transformers movies put together. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. It does. It just straight up looks better. So, yeah, I mean, let us know what you think, listeners. I mean, are you fans of the original Transformers franchise? Are you fans of Michael Bay's movies? Does this look too different for you to get on board? Let us know what you think. Okay, so let's move on to the second trailer, which was the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse animated movie. We got the full trailer. Now we did talk a little bit about the teaser trailer when that first came out, but we've got a full trailer today, and I'm just so happy with what we got. I think it's ticked just about every kind of Spider-Man box I had in my head in terms of what I would have wanted from a Spider-Man movie and a Spider-Man animated movie, and Yeah, I love it, man. I really do love it. Boys, how about you? I mean, like Rich, you watched it just recently. Are you excited for the movie? Are you kind of looking forward to entering the Spider Verse? And also, what does that mean? I mean, for people who don't know, you know, what's the Spider Verse? Because it's been mentioned in comic books before, but you know, a lot of people coming to these movies now don't read the comic books. So, could you just tell us a little bit about what the Spider Verse actually is?
Yeah, so basically the Spider Verse is essentially is that is just a different it's the multiverse for the Spider Man. So you've got obviously we've got like 616, which is Peter Parker, and then obviously like I would be able to tell you what it's the Ultimate Universe that Miles Morales comes from. What's the number that 1610?
1610, yeah,
Yeah,
1610,
1610.
Yeah. So basically that's what the Spider Verse is. So each universe has its own Spider Man or Spider hero, should I say? Um, it's weird because like it does delve in. There's quite a lot of history behind it, and it's something that kind of becomes quite spiritual, which is a storyline that J. Michael Straczynski started quite a few years ago. But the reason why I liked it is because there was a storyline called Spider Verse. I think it was about 2 years ago, and what they did is that they basically included every single Spider-Man iteration that you've ever seen or heard. So that included like anything that you'd seen on TV, anything that you'd read, posters, TV shows, films. So basically, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man in the films was actually a universe. What's it called? Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, which was a Spider-Man cartoon from the 80s, was a Spider-Man universe. There was a Spider-Man manga TV show, I think from the 70s and 80s. That was a Spider-Verse as well. So I'm interested to see where they're gonna go with this, which I think they might. I mean, you do see Spider-Gwen at the end of it, which actually got me quite excited because that means that basically there might actually just be them just time hopping and traveling throughout the Spider-Verse. This also isn't the first time that it's been done. In the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, which used to be on Fox, was it on Fox or Disney? Sorry, Disney XD. Yeah, Disney XD. There was a 5-part story called Into the Spider-Verse, and then basically it was the same thing with Peter Parker basically traveling to each different universe, and chasing the Green Goblin. And in one episode, he ends up fighting with Spider-Man 2099. In another episode, he meets Spider-Man Noir. And then this storyline in the cartoon also tied into the Spider-Verse, which I was talking about. And it tied into an Android and Apple game, which is called Spider-Man Unlimited. So I like the fact that they were just trying to include everybody. So some people who might just have an Android game and just be like, oh, this looks like a decent game, it's Spider-Man. And it might pique their interest and they might look here and say, oh, well, I can read this or I can go and watch this. So that was interesting. So I just really hope that they really do give the storyline the justice it deserves, because it's easily one of the best Spider-Man storylines for me that has been written in the past few years. So yeah, but the trailer was awesome. The animations, the animation style of it slightly gives me epilepsy, but I think I might be able to get over that. But yeah, I'm happy with it. The portrayal of Peter Parker still being a Peter Parker that we love, and that we love, that he's always kind of like down in his luck, but he's still striving to be that everyman hero. That's amazing. Seeing the relationship between Miles Morales and his father, which I don't want to make it a thing, but once again, it's a person of color who is shown in a positive light, So, but we can delve into that once everyone's made their own comments. But I'm really impressed with the trailer. I'm happy with it, and I can't wait till Christmas.
Cool. Yeah, same here. Alvin, I know you're a big fan of Miles, so yeah, man. But what's your thoughts on the trailer? You excited as well?
Yeah, they've made kind of quite a few changes to Miles and his family. Like his dad in the comics isn't a cop. He worked for Shield at one point, but I like the fact that they kept that he has kind of like a slight dislike of people with superhuman powers. I thought that was consistent. I also like the fact that they have kind of given Miles more of a personality. I mean, maybe it's just because it's animation that it feels that way. But if you do read some of the comics, you don't get a really good sense as to kind of who Miles is in his private life. You get to see kind of like more who he is when he's in the costume. So I think they've like including like the father-son relationship and all that kind of thing is really good. I also think they've borrowed a little bit from Bendis's Spider-Man miniseries. I think that was a 5-issue miniseries as well, in which Peter, well, he doesn't quite train Miles, but 616 Peter meets 1610 Miles Morales, and they have to kind of team up. So it kind of reminded me of that a little bit. There's definitely some influence from that in there, and just yeah, overall, it was as good as what I reacted like with the previous trailer. Like I didn't even know this trailer was coming in again. I saw it and I was just like, holy crap! There's like it's just so vibrant and just like dope things going on, and I'm glad that we're seeing kind of like a version of Miles's origin because we know Peter's. It's like seeing Batman's origin. We've seen it a million times. We don't really need like an animated film of Peter Parker going through that thing again because we've already seen it. We already know it. You can say it in one sentence, and we're good to go. Whereas this is going to be like totally brand new. We're having Peter train Miles. You've also got Spider-Gwen thrown in there as well. So obviously they must have met each other like when he's traversing like through the universe at some point, or universes even at some point. Because I don't think she's from the same universe as Miles. But either way, like the animation looks insane. Like I reckon it's going to be an attack on the senses, and like all the kind of like comic booky kind of like a car screeches and you see Screech at the bottom of the wheels and all that kind of business. I think all that stuff is going to be mint, and I think it's just going to be like nothing we've seen before.
Yeah, that's what I love, man. The animation style really, really does look quite unique. So, yeah, definitely down for that one. Right, we're gonna have to move on because we're running out of time. I know you wanted to come back on that, Rich, but we'll save it. We'll save it for when the movie comes out. When the movie comes out, we'll do our usual our usual breakdown, and we'll get into all the nitty gritty from there. But yeah, I said we are pressed for time tonight, so we're going to try and get through this as quickly as possible. Here's something though that's just come up on my news feed that we don't have to spend a lot of time talking about this because frankly this is nonsense. But I'm just going to bring this up to you two both because it's just come up. So listeners, you may be aware that yesterday there was an announcement made that Jared Leto was going to get his own Suicide Squad spin-off movie that focuses specifically on his version of the Joker. Well, guess what? There's going to be another Joker movie. We've just got an announcement here from Deadline claiming that Warner Brothers are also putting in motion another Joker movie, which is going to be starring Joaquin Phoenix, and is going to be directed by Todd Phillips. Their explanation, or Deadline's explanation, is from what they've been told, is that it will be under a different DC Origin cinematic banner, and that's a quote from their source who told them about this. Listen, it feels like all we do on this podcast is bash Warner Brothers and DC, but they just make it easy. They make it easy to bash them because they do nonsense like this. Rich, do you want to give your thoughts on this news?
Yeah, hold on. I just got attacked by a cat again. If you just heard me say Jesus, it's literally because the cat has just grabbed the cords of my headphones, and when I tried to take it off, it bit my finger. He bit my finger. Should I say stop? Stop! Hey! Wait, no. Okay, lads, sorry, you have to come back to me. Okay, no, he's good.
Just take him out of the room, man.
I'm scared, bro. Once again, Warner Brothers. Once again, Warner Brothers are just proving to everybody that they don't know their dick from their elbow. It's like they're gonna make another Joker. They're gonna make a. So hold on, wait. So they're gonna make a film. So they're gonna make a film.
This don't make no sense, does it?
So they're gonna make a film that's based on the Joker, but it's going to be set in like a different universe in the DC universe, right?
So
So
apparently, what we're getting is Jared Leto's Joker film is going to be a
yeah,
spin-off from Suicide Squad. So it will be his Joker set in that continuity, and then there's going to be another Joker
yeah,
film, which is going to be made by Todd Phillips with Joaquin Phoenix playing the Joker. That's going to be set in the 80s, and is going to be a
yeah.
um, completely different universe, basically a completely different continuity from the DCEU.
Wow. So wait, hold on, because I didn't even get that. So there's going to be two Joker films that come out.
Two
Okay, you
Joker
know what?
films,
I
completely
genuinely,
unrelated to each
yeah,
other, probably different
yeah, yeah,
takes on the character of the Joker, and
yeah.
probably neither film will feature Batman. So it's like, what's the point?
You know what?
What's the point?
I generally, I actually pray to the gods of the comic world that be Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, right? And or not, you know what? Forget those guys. Let's go straight to the source. Bob Kane, Bill Finger, yeah, those guys. I hope and I pray that these Joker films flop. You know the reason why? Because once again, I can't see how this idea alone is even a good idea, let alone how it got greenlit. You want to make two spin-off films based off of a franchise that hasn't even been able to keep itself afloat anyway. To me, that's just nonsense. That's just money spinning. And the reason why I'm getting a bit irate about it and a bit upset is because once again, if you're not careful, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to cause a demise of this particular film genre that we all love and enjoy. It's the same thing that happened with Batman and Robin. Like you had one film which nearly collapsed the whole freaking genre. Like, why would you even like headline this? Don't get me wrong. I'm not even saying that the people that they've chosen aren't good actors. Joaquin Phoenix is a good actor. Jared Leto, I actually didn't mind his Joker. But then at the same time, concentrate on the matter at hand. Stop trying to like just come out with all these stories and or like you know, you've got a saying that you enjoy using which is like stop taking pieces of shit and throwing it against the wall and see which one sticks. Like is just a waste of our time. To me, that's the most ridiculous idea I've ever heard. That's the most that tops 5 Transformers movies. I swear to God. Like it's a joke. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Alvin, what's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I don't get it. That's so confusing. I mean, does the Joker really deserve a kind of whole movie backstory? Like, I don't think anyone's really cared that much. You know what I mean? Like, we saw a Joker origin, well, a version of it in 1989, Tim Burton. That's all that's needed. Like, there's nothing more. Why would you want to do a whole 2 hours? Well, with it possibly ending with him becoming the Joker or halfway through. What's the point in Joker without Batman? Like,
I don't know.
I tell you what,
do you
though.
think this is cash-in?
I tell you what.
Yeah, of course.
With
there's only
no, but I mean a cash in as in like, do you think that they're looking at this franchise that they have and they're like, Jesus, like what's the one thing that we can definitely all agree on, that all the fans agree on, that they'd love seeing, even as much as or more than Batman and Joker? No, the only okay, no, the only no, but the only reason I'm saying it is because the way how people go on about Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker, they're just like, well, fuck
Jared
it.
Leto, everyone pretty much hated his Joker. A lot
Yeah,
of people
but now they
okay.
But then
I wouldn't want to see a whole his Joker in it.
Yeah, but then they've decided to make a second movie. So they must be basing it off. So there must be something that they're basing off. They must be based on something. So I reckon they must be going back to be like
that. Warner Brothers don't have a fucking clue when it comes to comics. We know that already. You know what I mean? There's no based off statistics or anything like that. You're thinking logically. That's not what Warner Brothers are doing right now with these.
No. But I'm not trying to put numbers to it. I'm just saying I can imagine be like, oh,
I'm just saying,
what do you think is the best thing to come out? Yeah.
You're using common sense and saying, oh well, if that was me, there'd be a reason as to why we made that decision. You're giving him too much benefit of the doubt. They didn't even think of that. I'm not being snide, but they literally. The fact that it's 2 movies and there's 2 different actors playing different versions of the same thing. I don't know how different that can be or how interesting it can be. I mean, if you know kind of like the original origins of Joker from like the comics, it's actually quite a depressing story. It's not necessarily one that you'd want to see in a film. You'd want to see bits of it. You know what I mean? If they're going to do the whole original Red Hood thing and the Red Hood gang and all that, then yeah, maybe. But do I need a whole fucking film of that twice?
No,
Possibly. No, I barely need it once. To
no.
be honest, I need one flashback scene in Ben Affleck's Batman movie of that first night when they first met or whatever, and he becomes the Joker, or if he's the Joker beforehand, whatever. All I need is like a 10-minute flashback, if that. I don't need anything more, because all I need to know is the Joker's crazy, his skin's fucked up, or he's got paint on his face, depending on which one you want to go for, and he likes to fucking commit murders. That's all I fucking need, and he's a psychopath. That's all I need for the Joker. Joker's one of the most simple kind of villains there are, in the same way that Superman's one of the most simple heroes. Came to Earth from a planet with a red sun. Fucking he's Superman, he's strong. That's it, done. There's no reason to fucking linger.
I don't know what what it is that, to be honest, Rich, that's motivated Warner Brothers. I don't know. I, as we know, there's not a lot of coordination or joined up thinking that goes on over there. And we see that time and time again with the decisions that they make and the things that they decide to do with these DC properties. But if you're a DC fan, this must be like just depressing for you, because like it's like time and again the people that you're trusting to kind of deliver the thing that you want, they're just not listening to you. They're doing the opposite and going, nope. What's that you want? You want a coherent story with characters that have a simple background that anybody can find? No, we're not doing that. No. This guy Zack Snyder wants to do this whole dark thing that he's told us about. We're doing that. And they just won't listen. They won't listen to their fans. They won't listen to anybody. And the only way that they will listen is when the movies start crashing and burning. And it happened to Justice League. I don't know if that's going to happen with Aquaman. I hope, part of me hopes it doesn't, because I want James Wan to do well with Aquaman. I think he's a fantastic director, and I'm really looking forward to that. But we don't. You're kind of running out of hope when they keep making these decisions. Like it doesn't. It's hard to see where we're supposed to go after all of this. So I don't know. But anyway, let's move on from that, man. Enough of that depressing shit, man. The Warner Brothers can keep fucking around for as long as they will. I suppose it will give us something to talk about for the next couple of podcasts going forward anyway. But yeah, as said, listeners, it's our 50th episode this week. We're really pleased to have got to the number 50, and I said it's been a long ass road for us to get here, man. We hope that you've enjoyed the ride while you've been with us. Guys, what's been the kind of your favorite episodes that we've done so far? I mean, I can think of a couple. But I wanted to hear you, because I don't think I've ever asked you guys this question. So, what have you enjoyed the most of the episodes that we've done so far? And Richie, you could go first.
I think one of them would be when we interviewed Jeff from Kung Fu Driving. Was it Kung Fu Driving podcast? Like like, I mean, Jay, Alvin, you went on that show, but before we listeners, before we go on air, we talked for about 15 minutes, like half an hour, 15 minutes, whatever, just to catch up and just to loosen lips a little bit, right? But we had Jeff on, before we went on live, and I just kept on fanboying, man. Like it was just awesome. Like that was one of my favorite episodes, of just speaking to another person who I listen to as well, and has the same love for a particular genre of film that I do. And like you said, like we said we were recording, like I could have done that podcast all night, like literally, So that's probably been one of the highlights. I'm sure there's a couple of others, but obviously if we can go around, then do whatever. But that's been one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, Yeah, man. Shout out to Jeff. Jeff is the host of the Kung Fu Driving podcast, as Rich said. Definitely go and check him out, man. His show is awesome. He covers kung fu movies, martial arts cinema, and we got the opportunity to sit down and just kind of fan out, basically, like fanboy out as a group over the kind of movies that we love and stuff. And it was awesome, man. It really was amazing. If you haven't heard that episode, I don't know why you haven't. But it's a bonus edition episode and it's volume 6. And you'll find it wherever you found this podcast. So just make sure you look down the list and you'll look for bonus edition volume 6 and you'll see it there. Alf, how about you, man? Has there been any episodes that you've enjoyed more than others?
Yeah, the episode I enjoyed more than others are the ones in which Richard does some rustling.
I was trying to think back and remember where exactly. Do you remember what episode it was that we christened him the Rustling Kid? I can't remember.
It'll be a few episodes in because
Yeah,
it was the
it was.
consistency of it.
It was a while back, wasn't it? It was a while back. But
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
yeah, yeah.
remember.
This is ages. This is ages now.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. But yeah, man, definitely go back and have a listen to some of those lists because those are funny. Those are very funny. I think the ones that I like the most was probably the episodes where we got to kind of speak about ourselves, really, because obviously the people who are listening to us don't know us, bar from listening to the podcast. So it was good to get the opportunity for people to hear kind of our stories and where we came from and the kind of things that we like and all of that. That was really, really fun. So listeners, if you do want to check out some of those, you can listen to episode 15, which is Richard's episode. It's all about Rich Reviews, it's called, and that's episode number 15. That one you can find out a little bit about the Rustling Kid. That may well be where that phrase was born, actually. So yeah, it might be worth going back and listening to that one. And then we spoke to Alvin in the next one, which is episode 16, and it's all about the Mank Geek. That one's called. That one's worth listening to as well. And if you want to find out a bit about me, then the one after episode 17. But yeah, those were fun episodes for me, man. I really enjoyed that. And I think the episode I liked the most, aside from that as well, probably thinking about it, was our interview with Maria Lewis. That one I really enjoyed.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
Maria had a lot of interesting things to say about her experiences because of the fact that she's a writer and she's also a journalist as well. So she talks a lot about kind of her experience in those kind of fields and what she's kind of gained from her life experience and how she transfers that to her writing. That's been really, really fascinating for me on one level. So that's been a lot of fun.
And she's our people's as well, man. She's our people's, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just like talking. It's just like talking to a friend with Maria as well, man. So
yeah, for sure. And then on the flip side of that, the one that I think I laughed at the most was probably when we did our Infinity War, like part 1 and 2, actually. Just having all the guys there, that was hilarious at certain points as well. Like, because on those ones, listeners, we had like a roundtable discussion where we broke down kind of Avengers Infinity War, and we talked about what we liked and what we think is coming for the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all of that kind of stuff. And we had some special guests with us as well. We had Nigel from Mayamada join us, and we had Mr. O as well join us, the novelist and the MCU superfan. And yeah, it was just funny, man. It was just really funny and just really fun to kind of sit down and just chat about all this stuff with fans, with fellow fans, So yeah, man, those were really definitely some of the favorites for me. I really enjoyed it.
I thought you were gonna say the episode where we had a guest and that guest just went off on one.
Oh,
Whoa.
that was weird. Yeah, exactly. That was the weirdest one. Yeah, no, that's definitely the weirdest one. But but yeah, no, and like those are some of the episodes that I really, really kind of loved and stuff. So, listeners, go and check some of those out, man. I mean, as said, wherever you've found this, you'll find those episodes. We've given you the names as well. So, um, if you're on iTunes, you can find them all on iTunes. If you're on SoundCloud, they should all be in order as well, so you can go back and check out some of the older ones as well. Yeah, man, they've been amazing, really, really amazing, and the whole experience has been amazing. So, chaps, well done to you on 50. Thanks for being there and being a part of it all. It's been a great experience, and here's to 50 more, huh?
It's 50 more plus, if that makes sense.
What? No, yeah, I guess you mean like
I'm not good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's quick. Hey, it's quick maths in it. Quick maths.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we kind of get to like the end of the show and the shout outs, because there's a few shout outs I want to do as well. We've got a special segment for you here. Rich is going to be doing pitches for you coming up with the Wheel on Talks podcast. So he's going to pitch some different ideas for different things that he'd like to see, whether that be a TV show, a movie, or a video game. And we're calling it Dick's Pitch because I like the name. So yeah, that's what it is. So Rich is gonna pitch us an idea for a TV show this week. So Rich, what you got in mind, and me and Alvin will tell you what we think of it. So Alvin, me and you will have a listen in, and we'll trash it as we usually do. But no, joking. But Rich, yeah, go ahead, man. Let people know what your pitch is about.
Okay, so this week my pitch is for the Assassin's Creed TV show. Not the Assassin's Creed movie that came out, which I have to admit I was actually I'm a guilty fan of it, and I'm not essentially a player of the games, but I do like the legend and the lore behind the games that have been going on for what 10 years plus now. So basically, what I've said is this: instead of trying to condense quite a heavy story into just one film, which is the mistake I think they made with the Assassin's Creed film, I'd say basically make it a series and have each series, let's just say 12 episodes. And before each series begins, there's going to be a standalone episode that will basically be based in our present, in our time, in which you've got the whole, scientific part of the animus, and basically, them sending, let's say, an agent back in time to try and, do whatever they need to do. And then basically each series will basically start off with the repercussions of what happened in the last season, have it shown an effect of what happens in our time. That's the first thing. Now, each season will be based in a different time period as well. And each season might not necessarily even follow an assassin. It actually might follow the Knights Templar as well. And now the reason how I got to this is one of my favorite TV shows of all time was Quantum Leap, and it was basically about a man who basically jumps from body to body in different time periods and has to do something good in order to affect the future or to affect the past, to just to make a difference. One of my favorite episodes, or a couple of my favorite episodes from that series as a whole, is where you actually see Sam Beckett and his companion Al face off against other leapers. So I always found that thing interesting, that he wasn't the only person that was able to do this. And they actually do touch upon it in the last episode of the show, where you see other leapers basically leaping throughout time as well, trying to make a difference. So I thought that would be a nice opener, or basically something different that can be brought to the franchise, and try and open up the whole universe so that it will be easier for other people to come in and enjoy as well. The other thing I was actually going to say as well is that the TV show should be linked into the computer game. I think that would be a nice little tie-in as well, which is something that they did try and mention in the film, but they didn't 100% commit. And I think that's one of the failings of the film, as one of the things that the film did wrong. So that's my pitch for the Assassin's Creed TV show.
Okay. So in terms of like the plot of the Assassin's Creed TV show, what's actually the plot?
So the plot will essentially still follow the same thing that will still follow the same story that the computer game follows, which is basically about two rival factions that have been battling since X period. I mean, I think the most recent one was set in Egypt. So let's just say it's like that. So basically, so it will still continue. It will still continue that theme, but basically, it will expand a bit more on the people that are involved. So, like I said, one season might be about the main character might be an assassin, and then the next season it might not be about assassins, it might be about the Knights Templar. So there will never ever be just one thing where you watch one season and it's like, oh, the good guys have won again. The good guys might be the main characters for season 2, but then they might fucking lose. And then come by season 3, you will see the ramifications of what's happened of them losing that battle, let's say maybe 100 years before, and then basically, the persons who have lost having to pick up the slack and trying to get the upper hand in a different time period. Let's say it's like the Civil War, or World War II. So yeah, that would be the main storyline of how I'd be treating the characters that would be portrayed throughout the different series.
Okay. Alvin, what's your thoughts, man?
Quite like it, because it is quite similar to what I would want to see from an Assassin's Creed TV show. I don't think it's really as important to tie into the game, just because the games stopped kind of tying into one overall story with an actual ending once Assassin's Creed Revelations happened. Any game after that hasn't meant shit in regards to the future of the Templars or the assassins at all. But other than that, I'm pretty much on board as long as each series has kind of like an interesting, whether it be either past assassin, or past Templar character, protagonist. So as long as they have an interesting story and the ramifications of what happened in their life or lives is important to the wider present story in the present, then although that would be difficult to tie together, I'd still be on board to see that.
Cool. I like the quantum leap angle, and the idea that you may cross paths with different assassins at different points in the story. I like that. I think that's quite an interesting angle to take. Yeah, I would commission a pilot and say, yeah, bring me a pilot, let me see what it looks like, and then we'll decide from there. But I think there's enough there. I mean, we don't have enough like kind of time travel on TV anymore anyway, outside of Doctor Who. So yeah, I'd probably be down with that. I think the last thing we had was maybe Life on Mars, I guess, the BBC stuff. Would probably be the last sort of time travel stuff that we've had. So yeah, no, I'd be down with that. I'm good with time travel. So yeah, works for me, man. Listeners, let us know what you think of Richard's pitch as well. You can, as I said, you'll find out at the end of the podcast how you can get in touch with us. So you can give us some feedback and give him some feedback. Make sure it's constructive, or if it's not constructive, be constructive with your criticism. And if it's not constructive, then be creative with your criticism. Yes, put it that way. All right. We're gonna go because it's been a while, and yeah, we need to kind of say goodnight, man, because I'm tired. But before we leave, let's do some quick shout outs as well. I wanted to say a big thank you to Rob Wade from Emotionally 14. As you know, by now we're E14 endorsed. That means you'll be able to find all of our podcasts on the Emotionally 14 website. If you want to find out more, you just head over to www.emotionally14.com and you'll be able to find us and loads of other great podcasts as well on that homepage. So head over there and check that out. I can highly recommend it. Also, a big shout out as well to the Britpod scene and everybody involved at the Britpod scene. They've really been instrumental in helping us grow. The Britpod scene is a great home for British podcasts. They're all independently made, and there's podcasts about just about every topic you could think of there. So if you into bird watching, gardening, football, sports, gaming, whatever it is you like, you'll find a podcast about it on the Britpod scene. So big shout out to them, and yeah, go check them out. Also, we've got some social media shout outs to quickly do as well. So I got to say a big thank you and a big shout out to J-Man from J30 Productions. Thank you for all your support, bro. You've been there for us pretty much from the beginning, and you've supported us from the beginning, so thank you. Shout out to Elite Cosplay Gaming as well, Nostalgia Party Podcast, PTO Unlimited, hashtag Blackout Podcast as well, another set who've been there for us from day one. Tam from the Broken Elevator, big up the Broken Elevator crew. Hopefully they'll be back podcasting again soon in the near future. We'll watch this space and see what happens with them. Shout out to Mr. O as well, a good friend of ours and somebody again who supported from the very beginning. Got to give a big shout out, of course, to Nigel and Lau from Mayamada. Their Kickstarter campaign is live now, by the way. You'll remember from the previous episode, they were talking about getting the Kickstarter up and running and how you can do it. And well, they've managed to get their one going. So if you want to support that, make sure you head over to our website, or you can head over to the Mayamada website, which is www.mayamada.com. And you'll be able to find all about the Kickstarter campaign that they have running for Hot Lunch, their brand new manga volume that is coming out very, very soon. Rich, is there anyone that I missed out that we need to big up as well?
Yeah, a fellow cosplayer that we've run into quite a few times now at various functions. Elite Cosplay.
Oh yes. Well, I've already said Elite Cosplay, bro.
Have you said that?
Yeah.
Look at that! I'm trying to style it. I can't even think of a fucking excuse. Can I? Like for real? Oh, really? Oh, okay. The other guy whose name I can never pronounce. I'm really sorry, but do you say his name as well?
David. Yeah, I can't remember his surname, but David, he knows.
Okay. Yeah. David I think it's David the Phone.
Yeah.
It's a big shout out to you as well, man. We've met you at a couple of functions as well, and you did some cosplay pictures of my boy as well. So thank you for that as well, man. So it's a big shout out to you as well, and your friends of Elite Cosplay. You guys actually go hand in hand like the dynamic duo of cosplays that I've been running into recently. So thank you very much for that, guys.
For sure. Also, we've got to thank some of our previous guests as well, man. So I want to thank Lou, Afro Cosplay. She was one of our earlier guests and she was absolutely brilliant. We've been trying to get her back on, but she's busy, but we are going to try and get her again, just because she's just such a great guest and a great talker and has so many stories that she can share with people as well. So we'll definitely get her back on at some point. We already kind of shouted out Jeff, but big up to Jeff from the Kung Fu Driving podcast as well. Who else do I need to shout out as well? I'm sure there's other people that I've not mentioned that I should be mentioning. Miss L as well from Two Shots and a Brew podcast. She's kind of supported us from the very beginning as well. So thanks to her. Who else is there? We need to shout out Glenn from Glenn and Her podcast as well. He's been like a big follower from day one, a support from day one. Thank you. The guys held us down from the very beginning, so I've got to big him up too. Who else is there? There must be somebody else that I'm missing. Oh, cool, crikey, Jay. Yeah, of course, Jay Del Negro from the By Chance podcast, man. Yeah, got to give him some love. Yellow Rage Attacks as well. She's listened to us from the beginning. Thank you for the support. Surely there's somebody else as well that I'm missing here. Rich, help me out. Come on, man. There must be somebody.
Maria Lewis.
Yeah, but I mean, we kind of already mentioned Maria, so that's cool.
Hey, listen, you asked for my help. Don't freaking question me now. You
Yeah,
asked
you're
for my
not
help,
fucking
yeah.
helping.
Um,
That's the point.
Okay,
You're
Nazia,
repeating what I've already said.
Nazia,
Yep, Nausea. Yep,
Nazia,
Nausea shout. That's cool.
Jed Shepherd,
Yes,
Jed
of course,
Shepherd.
Jed, man. Jed was one of our like. He was a wicked guest, man. Yeah, how could I forget Jed? Sorry, Jed. Yeah, Jed, definitely big yourself up, man. We're gonna have you on again for sure. Um, God,
And Alvin, Alvin, and Alvin as well.
what are we thanking Alvin for? Fuck Alvin.
Yeah.
No, no, because if you think about it, it's like
No.
Alvin. The best way to describe, yeah, Alvin. The best way to describe is that you're the guy that slept on a couch and never pays rent, but you're just here now. Like, but you become you become a member of the family. No, because if you think about it, all jokes aside, we were just like, yeah, Alvin, like, would you like to guest star in it? And it was like, yeah, okay, cool, fuck it. We've all got things to say. And then the next thing you know, we're just doing it like week in, week out. Like, bar a couple of episodes where you might not be on it or I might not be on it. And there's been an episode where Jay hasn't even been on it and it's just been me and you, remember?
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So you know what? Yeah. So you know what? Thank you as well, man.
Yeah, fair dues. Yes, and last thank
Yeah.
you because I had to check because I knew I'd forgotten somebody. Is Ramona SJ Lee, the writer who I interviewed for episode 43.
Oh yeah.
She's her project is coming together nicely. Kung Fu Bodyguard. She's started to get a cast together. She's been doing some mainstream interviews and things like that as well, and it's really interesting to see how everything is developing. I mean, hopefully, she'll be close to beginning shooting soon. So we'll try and get her on again just before that begins. So she
Oh,
can
one
talk a
more,
little bit about
and
that.
one more as well.
Yeah, go.
And my boy Lucas Guy as well, man.
Oh,
For all those
yes, of
times that he's
course. Guest star Lucas Guy. Yeah, of course. We can't forget him, man. He's been in there. He's been there making his contribution throughout the episodes, and I think people do appreciate it as well. So, Lucas Guy, big up to you, man. Well done.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Yeah, man. Let's call it a night because, as I said, I'm kind of tired. So, yeah, let's put a fork in this or a pin in it or whatever you put in these things when they're done. We stick one in it because we're done. So yeah, we're saying good night, man. So I'm out here. Good night from me. Big A, say good night.
Good night.
Rich Kid, say good night.
Good night.
And we're out here, people. Take care, and we'll see you on episode 51. Peace.